Hello and welcome back to Black Hair in the Big Leagues, honey. I'm your host, Salisha Thomas, and y'all, I'm so excited to see my friend up on this screen today. Y'all, she is a bad ass, y'all. She was in the off-Broadway productions of We Are the Tigers and Scotland, PA. She's OBC for A Bronx Tale. She's slayed in Summer, the Donna Summer Musical, and she's also slated to slay as Rapunzel in the new Britney Spears musical, Once Upon a One More Time. Oh, and not to mention, voted one of the top 10 sexiest women on Broadway. Y'all, please help me welcome Wonu Ogunfowora!
Yes,
Hey!
that rundown.
Girl, what is up? Girl, what is up?
Listen, just trying to get by all day, every day, taking everything one step at a time, one day
Right.
at a time. That's all.
Where are you?
I'm in Jersey. I've been in Jersey. That's where I'm from. But I'm still by myself. I'm right outside the city, but also I've been able to visit my family and stuff like that because all my family lives in New Jersey and New York.
Good. Okay, so you've been you don't have any roommates.
No, actually, I'm
Which
like,
is well, what do you think about that? Because I am the same way in New York. I'm in California right now and I'm surrounded by a bunch of family. But in New York, I'm by myself. And when everything went down, Wanu, we all got laid off from the Britney musical, and then they were just like, go home, Roger. We're like, wait, what? How was it for you? Because I felt like it kind of was hard being by myself. Did you
I
like it?
mean, well, no, I feel you. It's like, honestly, I like being by myself. That's why I got,
Right. Right.
my own apartment. But I kind of got it. One of the reasons was because we're around people so much all day in our job that I'm like, I want to make sure that I can come to a space where I can de-stress by myself. And being that we weren't around people all the time, it was just like, okay, well, I am here by myself alone. Okay, cool. And at a certain point, the FaceTimes and Zoom calls, they were all cute, but after a while, it was just very taxing, and I was just like, I'm over it. I would like to have some human interaction,
Right?
and yeah, it was just sad. I was like, I'm sad. But yeah.
It's scary. And I remember and we can this out. This doesn't have to be in this, but when you had you got the corona earlier when we had,
Mhm.
right? Were you okay by yourself?
Honestly, I was fine. It was it wasn't, thank God, what I had was not to an extreme um level at by any means. But everything was simple. I was able to have medicine that I needed prescribed to my pharmacy, and literally every single person in my family check my mom would maybe call me 3 times a day. I have four other
Okay.
siblings, and they would also call me every day, if not every other day.
Good.
And my sister, one of my sisters and her husband, they're both nurses, so they were also and they were also around it, so they kind of had an idea of how people were being treated, and
Okay.
they understood what the symptoms were. So I was as much as it sucked having to be alone, I would have rather have been with my parents, but obviously I'm not going to expose them. I'm not going to
Right.
I wasn't going to do that, especially if I wasn't already staying with them, and I'm not going to be around any of my other siblings either. So yeah, it was thank God that I had all of that support during that time, and by the time I had it, it was it, it, it I mean, it was. I had it for probably a month, maybe more than a month, but the severity of it was probably the minority of the time as opposed to the majority. So
Good. Okay. So, and I'm looking at you now. You look beautiful. You look healthy. You look
so do
well. Thank you,
you.
Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for keeping us, God.
Listen, this has been a rough summer. It's been a rough, sad summer. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
You were not alone. You were not truly. I want to say, like, when I first met you, like, I'd seen you in summer, by the way, and you're so fierce. You're so fierce. But when I got to meet you was during auditions for the Britney Spears musical, and you know what is so freaking funny? Like, we
Wait,
hear people.
Salisha, we met before that.
Oh shoot!
I
What?
definitely remember meeting you.
Oh shoot!
But it's okay. It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
no,
We
no,
can
no!
edit
I
that
need
out.
you to go first.
Edit it out.
No. No, no, you're not gonna let me continue. Where did we meet, Wonu?
I definitely. First of all, I have heard so much about you from JT because he's
Ew.
obsessed with you. And he's only told me like funny, great stories about you. And it's like, oh, you would love her, and I'm like, well, she sounds fierce. I believe we met at like a Tony's party. I think it was either like our
Oh,
viewing party. There was somewhere maybe like
oh.
30s or Glass House or something like that. There was like because I remember because JT always is like you were a former pageant girl, so you would like you were just no matter where you would go out, he was like you two kind of like remind me of each other because you always like to like get super dressed up when you go out, but like Salisha
Girl,
likes
you
to
dress down. You
fit.
dress.
He did not lie because he was like, she is always in like a ball gown or in like a pageant gown. And sure enough, you were like, you showed up at the party, your hair was coiffed, you had the like I don't like a long maybe a high-low dress or something. Like you
I
were just like
remember this. Oh my gosh, wait, that was when Summer was in the Tonys.
yeah, I think this may have been when we performed like I guess I was 2
Okay,
years.
because you guys' party was at Glass House, and me and my friend Chris Roberts,
Yes,
we
yes,
were
and that's
sitting in like the commoners area, and I think it might have been you, it might have been Anissa Felix, who was like, "Why do you guys come up here with us?" And so that, but it was a dark night, and we were probably drinking. I mean, I'm not getting me, not
I
Chris.
don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Oh my gosh, you have such a freaking good
I
memory.
actually
Okay.
don't, but I just know because when people like are like you have to meet this person, they're always like talking and loving and raving on you. I'm like, what's the tea? What's the deal? And so when I met you, I was like, oh, so this is Salisha.
Well, I feel the same way about you. I'm like, because I've seen you, I've heard your name. I'm like, oh my gosh, like wow, she's it. Like she's a badass. Like everyone knows, about Wanda, but I hadn't had like. I mean, I don't know how much I was drinking Tony's night, so I'm like, I hadn't had like
That was a long night.
it was a long night. So, but at the audition for Britney, I remember like they were like lining up girls to dance for the audition, and I heard I was recognizing a few people's names. I was like, oh, that's her, and you were. I was like, that's Wonu. Oh shoot! Oh my goodness. Okay, Salisha, you gonna hold your own, girl. Okay, girl.
Listen, we was in there. We knew all. I was like, I know each. Maybe there's like one person that I think maybe it was like Diana was like the only person that I didn't know at that point. But I was like, hi girl, hey girl, hey, seen your face, know you through somebody. What's up? Hey, what's
Wow.
new?
I didn't feel that way. I felt like that was one audition where I didn't see all the same faces that I see at all the other auditions that I go to, and that always makes me feel like, okay, what kind of audition is this? Is this a dance? Is this a dancey dance? Because like the same singer who moves, I see we all at the same places. So I'm like, ooh, I've not been in like the same room with you or Diana or whoever, everyone else who was in there. So it
Yeah,
was nice. It was nice.
it was
Um,
cute.
it was cute. I was like, I think I just made a new friend. Ooh. I want to dive right in and ask you some things. And we'll get to hair. I
Yeah.
have seen you and felt like, Wano, you are so confident and so beautiful. Like when I think Wanu, I think she's a badass. I think I want to be her friend. I never want her to be mad at me. She will whoop my ass. Like I want to know, have you always been a confident person? Have you always stood in your truth? Like where does that come from?
Oh, where's this? Oh my gosh. Sorry. The screen just went. Ah! I think it almost went to sleep mode. Hold on one second. Let me catch
Oh,
you.
you good?
Where you at, girl? Where you at, girl? Oh my gosh. Where are you?
Can you see me? I can see you.
Can you see me? Oh
Yeah,
my gosh. I can't see you. Where'd you go? Oh, this is strange.
I'm right here.
Oh my gosh, what just happened? I don't. Oh, sorry. You're gonna have to like edit this out. What?
Nope, it's
You
okay.
can still see me on the Zoom?
Yeah. You don't
Oh,
see me, but I see you. Shaking on
here we
some
go.
some. There we go.
Thank you for the musical interlude. Okay, okay, I found you. Um, there we go. What was the question? Was like,
Confidence, being a badass. Where does that come from? Have you always stood in your truth?
girl, that first of all, I mean, I don't know. I feel like at this point, especially in our industry, I like, I'm yes, I feel like I've always been the type of person that like, doesn't really hide who they are. And um I'm not good at being fake, so I couldn't even do it if I really tried. So like, it's just naturally I am who I am, but I'm not perfect by any means. And I try to be confident as much as I can. Like, it's interesting that, you would use that as, or not interesting, but like, it's still kind of is like, hmm, weird that that's like one of the first things you think of when you think of
Yeah.
me. Because like, I have insecurities like everybody else. But the thing is, especially with like working in this industry, is like I've realized that I've had to, kind of stand up for myself a little bit more. And 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 then it's kind of like, seeped out into like just how I interact with things in my regular life outside of the industry. And I'm just like, I I can sometimes have a hard time saying no with things, and wanting to be too polite. I'm very empathetic. I think that's maybe like one of the best qualities that I can say about myself. So that kind of makes me like, sometimes not think about myself first. And so, I try. I don't want to lose. I try not to lose that about myself, but also at the same time, um, I'm trying to find a way to, like find my agency and like, the things that I do in my life. And I'm just like, yeah, I just try to stand up for myself. I try to speak up for myself. Um, um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that's grown over the past couple of years that I've tried to work on.
I admire that quality in you. And oh, I love an empath. Like, I'm an empath too. And sometimes it can be a burden, but like, honestly, it's
Yeah.
so much better. I think it's so much better than like the opposite. So it's, yeah. You touched on something and I would like to ask you, have you ever gone into audition rooms or rehearsal rooms in our industry, and have you ever felt the need to change anything about yourself based on who you knew was going to be in the room?
Hmm, that's interesting. Um, I mean, well, when I look at auditions, I try to be very specific and cater whatever talents I have to that specific audition. So, um, I like to think of myself as malleable, and like, you know, I try not to stretch outside of my means of what I have, because then, like, you know, then I would feel like I am being inauthentic, and I also wouldn't be like, you know, showing myself off in the best way. But obviously that has taken time to figure out. So like, yes, when even, I mean, I'm sure within recent auditions it's been the same, but like definitely in my, when I first started excuse me, auditioning, it definitely felt like, you know, going in and singing things that I maybe should not have been singing, or going in for roles that, like, you know, I maybe did not identify with, or like, you know, didn't match my skill set, but like, you know, it's the black role in the show, so you've got to
Right.
do it, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There's like something that I admire about you is like when we were only in rehearsals for 11 days for,
that's crazy.
you know, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I think it was 11, yeah, 11 days. And watching you and watching Aisha, I'm like, they're black. We are black. Like it was nice. It felt good to like watch you guys stand in your truth and be like Aisha would come in with her afro and be like, "What? Let's go." You know, like you were like, "I'm Rapunzel and this is my version of Rapunzel. This is not the cartoon you done seen on TV. This is my version." And I think that's a very like, to me that's inspiring. And in my mindset, it's like I think things are changing now, but back in the day, if I would have thought, "Oh my goodness, I'm Rapunzel, I'm Snow White," I would have thought like the white version of the character. And both of y'all were like, "I am. I am who I am." Like,
Yeah, no, well, that's literally what, like, honestly, and it's funny you bring that up, because it's just like sometimes, especially now with like current writing leaning more towards, like, you know, not necessarily writing for actors of color, but like, you know, like, oh, okay, we're gonna acknowledge that there's like somebody of color in here, but like maybe not do it in the best way. Um, it's just like, you know, finding it can get stereotypical, not maybe in the princess way, but more in like, oh, this is what a caricature of somebody, a person of color who's playing this role. And it's just like, you don't want to fall into either one of them. You kind of just want to like truthfully bring whatever you see in the text. And like with what the stuff that I had with that was like, I can tell it was like she was sassy, playful, you know, and within those the confines of the text.
yeah,
And I'm like, well, the most I can do is bring me into it. That's like, you
yeah,
know, that's what I could
yeah.
do. And I was like, yeah, this
And
is Wanu's Rapunzel. And
right. Right. And that's what makes it badass, and that's what makes it yours. It's like this is how I would play it. This is the
yeah,
you know, that's the beauty of originating. Okay, here's a question. Have you ever, like, I see that you have, I can see kind of in light. They're braids, right? I just got my twists in. They're new
I
to
know.
me.
They look so cute.
Thank you. I did them myself. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm like taking like little tips from everything that I'm learning from these interviews. I'm like, let me try that. Let me try this. And so I've seen you rock your braids before, and it was so perfect for, especially for like, I mean, we were just in rehearsals, but like for Rapunzel and everything, was that intentional auditioning with braids? Have you ever changed your hair for a particular role when you're auditioning, or do you just do whatever you feel?
Well, like I was saying before, like when it comes to like how you were asking, like, have you ever walked into an audition or a show, like feeling like you needed to change? And like my thing is like I like to play when I go into these auditions and stuff like that. So like a lot of the times I'll try to match whatever character that I know has been like if there's already like a certain look, or like there's a character already set, an image for the character already, I try to match it as close as possible with my little twist on it. Or if there isn't anything, then I go based off the text and like, what would this person do? Like, what would they do with their hair? What would they do with their clothes? How would they, like, you know what I mean? I like to play. I like to use auditioning as a time to play. So, if I got my wigs, if I know she's like an executive, then I'm like, I'm gonna put the executive wig on. Or like,
Right.
Like if they say that she like, she's a gangster and like, she's got braids in her hair, then I'm gonna get my canacle on and I'm gonna, braids in my hair. But like, I will never like, I would never like put in a full head of braids for like an audition or something like that. The only reason why I had braids in my hair during the audition process and during rehearsals was because, obviously when we're in shows, you can't really have braids in your hair. And I had just finished doing Scotland, PA, and it was like one of the breaks that I had, and like I for the past couple of years, like thank God I've worked, but a lot of those shows required a lot of wig work, and I couldn't have any protective styles, couldn't have any type of braids in my hair. So I was just like, as soon as I finished that show, I was like, I'm putting these braids in, and
Right.
and like I've been going natural for I want to say maybe like the past like 3 years, and so I'm like, yeah, braiding it up is like the easiest for me, and like it's just maintenance is hard, and I was just like, yeah,
Wait, can you tell me about your natural hair journey? Like, start from, I don't care, you can start from the womb leading up to now. Let's hear it.
I mean, I'm still like very much in an interesting relationship with like my natural hair journey, but it kind of like, obviously, I feel like most Black girls, like especially who are of our age, grew up where like we were doing the Dark and Lovelies and Optimum Care,
Yes.
for me, like perming
Yes.
our hairs or relaxing them, I guess, all day, every day, when we were younger, and like wearing weaves and just like damaging our hair like for years. And so that was what I was doing up until I guess, yeah, 2017, I want to say. It was just like, it kind of came about like I had my hair out and I was probably wearing like clip-ins a lot, but like because I had worn so many weaves previously, and I didn't like maintain them well on my head, it just like doing all these shows and having the weaves in, sometimes it didn't like allow my scalp to breathe, and like it kind of like I kind of got like a skin condition on my scalp, so it just like it would that's harder to maintain when you have chemicals in your hair and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I was like, I did the chop before, but I was still relaxed. So it was just like a short, relaxed job.
Whoa, when was that?
That was my last year in college. That was probably like 2014,
Okay.
13, 14.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut it off, and like maybe it'll like grow faster, grow back, and then like hair kind of grew back to whatever length it was before, but the scalp was still like not getting better. So at that point, I was like, I had to go see like a dermatologist and like get like medicated shampoos and stuff like that, and then
Smart.
yeah, they were essentially like maybe like lay off the weaves, and I'm like, okay, I feel you.
Whoa.
I feel you. So I kind of just transitioned. At one point, I think I just like went to a salon and like was like cut off, as I had grown my hair out. So I stopped perming my hair for like, I don't know, more than half a year at that point. And then went to a salon and was like, cut off whatever like dead hair and like leave whatever is natural. And then from that point on, it was kind of just yeah, letting it grow naturally from there. But it was still tough doing these shows 8 times a week, and like having these like sometimes not like aerated wigs, like
Yeah. We're
through
sweating
them.
in them.
Yeah, and it's just like sweat buildup, dirt buildup, everything, and like not being able to maintain it well enough. And like, you know, also finding the right shampoos because like, you know, yes, I had medicated ones, but they were like, hey, if you're gonna use like, you know, I can only do so much with like a little medicated bottle. I still have to get like
Right. Something.
um yeah, like, you know, regular shampoo, but they're like, you can't have stuff that has this in it and that in it. So like, you know, it became harder, it became difficult, and I was just like, oh, I miss my
The
relaxed hair.
simplicity. Right. The simplicity of just having it relaxed. So you haven't had it relax um recently in the last
No, no, no. I haven't relaxed my hair since probably like, yeah, 2016 or 17.
dang. And a lot of times you use your braids to like transition you like that is a thing. So
I
and
mean, yeah, it helps me to not, because like with my hair is like, I'm definitely like 4C, like rough, tough, like, you know, navigated, and I'm, you know,
oh what? It's
listen,
just a tighter curl.
that's, and then, yeah, that's how my hair was made. But like, also, it can get very tedious and tiring. And so
Yeah,
I'd rather just
absolutely.
braid it up and then, like, you know, wash my braids that way. Like, you know, that's just a little bit easier for me. And now with this time off, it's just been so like, um I don't know, it's I guess that's one of the good things, I guess, that I could say that I've got out of quarantine, is being able to, like, you know, just braid my hair up or even play and do different things and like figure stuff out. And like,
Yeah.
you know, I've talked to my sister about it. She's been natural since like, maybe like 2008. She did it back in college, and like she's big on her natural hair, like, you know, um journey. And like, you know,
Yes.
she helps me a lot, and she, like, you know, sent me a care package with all this stuff when I was like, I'm sick of this, I don't want to do
Right.
anything with my hair anymore. So like, she's really good to
Yeah.
talk to, and like, you know,
It's hard
it's
sometimes. Like
hard.
transitioning is like the hardest thing, especially when you are used to a beautiful blowout, honey. You're used to that straight and silky, and then you're like looking in the mirror and looking at your own hair. It's like, ah.
It's
You
rough.
have to retrain. We have to retrain our eyes. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's across the board. I'm like, after I had a chop, girl, I'm like, I don't like this at all. But, you know, a little patience goes a long way. It goes a long way. Question. Okay, so wait, when we were doing Brittany, when you got your wig cast done, did you have it where you could have your braids, that you could keep your braids? Do
No,
you
no, no,
remember?
no. When did I do my wig cast? I don't know. I think, oh, you know what? I think those were two different sets of braids. Like, I think I like had braids like in December going into January, and then took those out in like whatever time. Like, I already knew when the wig casting was, and was like, okay, let me know when it is, because I'll put these braids the fuck back in. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
and then put them back in right before we started rehearsals. But
So
yeah, it's the
it
next.
was with your natural hair for your wig cast
Yeah,
for one more time. And
yeah.
what about for summer? Did you have anything in when you did your wig cast for that?
um, the wig cast for summer, no, didn't have anything in for that. But like, also the
What?
wig.
What is it? What? I need you to tell me.
It's just like, so we did the out of town, and they took all our stuff from the out of town, from La Jolla, and brought it to New York. And but like, La Jolla was traumatizing hair wise, and even coming to New York was also kind of traumatizing. So yeah, it's just like, even like the between, I don't, you know.
You're you can say as much or as little about that as you. I am so curious, but if you are not comfortable, you don't have to say any more than that.
I mean, this you can put off the record, is like, okay, so we can talk about it, but it would have to be like, maybe bring up an instance about, like, you know, working with like your wig experiences like on Broadway. So that way it's not me leading from Summer into the experiences with the wigs. That way that I can just be like, so there was this one show that I did where, you know, this was the
Okay.
issue, this was the issue, and this was the issue. So it's not like, you know,
Summer.
identifiable. Yeah.
All right. Noted. Noted. Is there ever a time that you have been on Broadway or any major show, or even not a major show, where you had any issues with wigs or hair off stage, backstage, that you were like, ah?
Well, I want to say most of my hair experiences have not, I don't think any of my hair or wig experiences have been like even to standard when it comes to dealing with like my kind of hair or um, the type of wigs that are supposed to be the type of hair that it's that's for my I guess for someone like me, for a Black woman or an African or African American woman. Um, and it's just like maybe there were a few people who knew what they were doing, but in most cases, or in a lot of cases, it was just like nothing. I've never, when I look back at on all of it, I'm just like, some this there's a lot of things that like were unacceptable. Um, there was like one experience where it was the styling of the hair was just not, first of all, not appropriate or period to of the time and to match the bodies that they were on. And
Mm.
then they're like, you know, when you do something maybe like regionally or out of town, the people who are taking care of it may not necessarily know how to take care of the hair, or don't know how to put it on your head, don't know how to
Oh,
deal with,
what?
you know, different kinds of prep underneath. Like,
Right.
sometimes they'll have a problem with that. Sometimes they'll have a problem with your hair. Like, our hair expands when we sweat. And,
Yeah.
maybe we'll get a complaint from the hair department saying, hey, you're stretching out our wigs are stretching out. And it's just like,
Wait, question. So, in the shows that you have done in your experiences, are you working? Have you worked with people of color? Is it usually non-black people? Like, uh, is there a mix?
there's looking back on all the shows that I've done, I want to say in the last couple of years, there has maybe been one Black person, and that person didn't really know what to do because they
What?
didn't work with because like every Black person doesn't necessarily know how to do black hair. Maybe they're um a barber, or maybe they're a braider, or maybe they're like
Yeah.
they're different, so but they were
I
like, they're
always
Black, so
do.
we'll hire them, it's fine. And it's just like, yeah, no, I'm really trying to think. I'm like, there was yeah, no.
No, you're thinking so hard, and that to me is a problem.
It's yeah,
That's a problem.
that's already problem number one.
That's problem number one. It's like, okay, black people, we exist. We need somebody to know what to do with our texture. And we're also trying to learn our texture, because I feel like growing up, we were just like, texture, get rid of it. So,
Mhm.
so it's like everyone is kind of like in this pandemic, everyone is like learning technology at a faster rate. We're like, how does this Zoom thing go? It's like, okay, how does this texture thing go? And I'm hoping that like we can get to the point where all right, we've done the little learning curve. We all know like what's up, you
Mhm.
know, because yeah, it shouldn't be this big of an issue. No one knows what to do with our hair. I will say though, and let's not go into too much detail because we haven't opened, but I will say that in one more time, I I have liked what they are doing in our hair department, and I'm I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited. I'm like,
Well, I mean that first of all, well, our hair or wig designer, I guess. Ashley, she's great, and she knows. And I worked with her previously on Summer, and like so she knows. She you know, we've had conversation. She knows the tea. She knows the tea,
Yeah.
and like
She knows what's up.
yeah, she knows what's up, and like she also listens, and she's yeah, she's really great, and like open to and aware of like the issue of
Yes.
hair, especially Black hair on Broadway.
Good.
But like she's one of few people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm just for the only. It's interesting because obviously as Rapunzel, like her storyline is about her hair. But it's interesting how like it's been written that she's I don't want to like give away her storyline.
Yeah, like don't give it away, but keep talking though.
But it's about her hair, and so there's a lot of talk of texture and this and that and the third, and it's just like it's cool how it's being brought up in the show.
Yeah.
I just
yes.
I
think it will be really fun to watch.
It'll be interesting to watch.
Yes.
That like there's more transformation in the way that it's touched upon. And but yeah,
yes.
no, it's cool that that's like something that's being brought up because most people wouldn't know about that. Like
exactly.
It's kind of like it's sad that it has become a trend, but like hopefully it'll be it will go from being a trend to something that's like here to stay. That's not something that's like abnormal or like taboo. You know what I mean?
Yes, or an anomaly.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's normalized texture on Broadway.
Yeah, but like also not make it look janky. That's I will never forget. I was getting wig fitted for a show, and it was with like this Broadway renowned hair wig designer, and like I got my wig cast and like did the wig cast earlier and like went to my wig fitting, and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have a great wig, like it's gonna look so good, and then like the wig designer like pulls out a wig that looked like it could have been from their play chest. It looked like a fake, like when they do like reenactments on maybe like a comedy show, and it's like this is when an '80s like this is what a permanent '80s look like. That's what the hair.
Did he or she set that mess on your head?
They literally pulled it out like with a straight face and was like, okay, like this is your wig. Here you go. And so they put on my head, and it's literally like, and it's supposed to be like go into a ponytail. And
nope.
Hold on, I'm like, let me turn on this light.
What did you do?
No, I was like, first of all, I was like, so how are you gonna put in the ponytail? And it's like a short wig too, so I'm like, I'm just confused at what's happening. And then they take the like 3 curls on the top of the head and like put it in a ponytail, and the rest is just like out. And I looked, and I was like, have you ever like seen a Black girl with a ponytail in her hair? And they go like, I guess not. I'm like, how did you get the fucking job? Like, I was like, what? And then they go, okay, well, tell me what you think I should do. And I'm like, like, one, I don't want to be doing a job, but at the same time, I'm not trying to look busted on stage. Like, how am I going to be on a major stage and looking rusty, busty, crusty? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, you're not going to do that to me. So of course I'm like, set it out to like make it look good. And they're like, okay, we can do that. And then of course they take that design and put it on one of the other girls and use it for like a main character and leave me still looking busted. And I was just like, you know what?
There is nothing worse.
Y'all don't give a fuck. Like, it's clear, like there is no forethought whatsoever. That's what I've gotten from a lot of things that I've gone into, is that there's just like no forethought for Black people, for Black women when it comes to hair, when it comes to wardrobe, or a lot of times when it comes to the things that are spoken, how things are addressed. It's just like there's just no forethought. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's like, it's laughable, but also in the moment, it's like, what the heck, y'all? Like, I gotta go on stage 8 times a week. I don't want to look busted
they're
8
like, how are you
times.
okay? How are you okay with somebody of your company going out on stage? Like, people are out here paying for like top tier quality stuff, whether it's like, you know, a tour, whether it's Broadway, even in a lot of these regional houses, they're paying top tier money. And you got people, this is, you're making lots of money also in your job, and you can't even do your job. You got people out here
Right.
paying money, putting people in bad
Girl.
costume. Like, I, that was
Right.
like a wake up call. I was like,
What the heck? Like, literally, you know what I've started to do during this pandemic? I'm watching all these shows, all of our shows from back in the day, Girlfriends. I haven't started
mhm.
Half and Half yet. Sister Sister. I haven't Moesha. Like, I'm watching these shows, and of course the leads look great. But I started to look at the extras, at the black extras. And in movies too, and I'm just kind of like, all right, did the hair and makeup people take care of them? About you know, and a lot of times I'm like, dang, nope,
Yeah,
no,
the answer is no. No.
no. It's like, dang it. Okay, I have a random question for you. I haven't asked anybody this question. I don't know why I'm like, Wano's gonna be the first person I want to ask about this.
I'm
What
honored.
do you think? What do you think about baby hairs? Do you like them fuzzy? Do you like to lay them down on a special occasion? Like, how you feel about baby hairs?
My thing is like, of course, when they were like, you know, when it started to become the trend again, to like lay the baby's hair like a couple years ago, I was like, ooh, yeah, let me, like, you know, lay my baby hairs. But at that point, I was like, you know, when I caught on, that was when I started going natural, and I was like, these, I do not, I maybe have 3 baby hairs laying naturally that will like actually stay down if I use like the strongest gel. So like, I tried it for a while, and like, I still have edge control that I'll maybe like use every once in a while, but like, you know, I have the toothbrush, but I'm not using it. Like, you know, I've come to the fact that I don't need to lay my edges. Like, you know, to
Yeah.
props to the girls that do it or whoever likes to do it.
Yeah, people be doing art on their head. I'm like,
And
what?
it's
That is
fierce.
that's
Lay
fierce.
it down. But as for me and my PZPs, I've come to accept them and love them, and I'm just like that. Like, they're there. These are my baby
I
hairs.
I feel the same way. Like when my hair is natural, right now I have on these passion twists, and I kind of like am more aware of my baby hairs. I'm like, oh, I don't have any of my edge control here in California, but I got my silk scarf, and so that kind of lays them down. But when my hair is natural, I don't really mess with the baby hairs. I'm kind of just like, she's soft, she's furry, and go about my business. But
Leave it, even with your passion twist. Like, you know, it's just like, that's just how your hair is. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
it's just, I mean, if you're going for like a certain effect, like specifically in your look, then yeah, sure. But like in everyday life, I'm just like, I literally am like,
Right. I ain't got time for all this. But it does look
yeah,
good when people do
I
it.
know it does. Yeah, it's cute. It's cute when it's
It
done.
is cute. I'm like, maybe I'll like do that for like a special occasion. Like, oh, got
Yeah.
my baby hairs laid. For those of y'all who are listening who are like, baby hairs, what? The hair around your edges in the front, like around the at the top of the forehead, by the ears, like the hair is shorter there. One of my friends calls it glorified breakage. Which,
Interesting.
right? I'm like, that's interesting, but like you can make it cute though. And you lay it down with the gel so it looks like those soft hair. It like it can soften like the edges. I don't know. Everyone has their own style, but anyway, Wanu, I love you. I cannot wait till we are back in the same room together,
Grr. Listen, every day
girl.
I'm like, is this going? What's happening? What's
What's
going to happen?
right?
What's going to happen? What is the future of things? I'm also still like, at the same time, yes, I would love to go back to a job, but like, you know, obviously theater has been exposed, thrown up in the air, thrown in upheaval, turned upside down. Her wig's been snatched off. You know, things happen this summer, and I'm like, now that like, we're putting stuff out in the open, I'm like, how do I feel about going back into this culture, this Broadway culture, and this landscape?
Wow.
Like, what is it going to look like? Is it going to be more equitable when we come back? Am I going to feel comfortable coming back to some of the spaces that, like, I kind of forced myself to be in? So it's just like, it's very, we'll see how these rooms look. Nobby.
Wow. Wow. That, yeah,
You know,
I do know what you mean.
it's,
Oh, girl, it's gonna be crazy. We're gonna be like, all right, what are we walking
I know.
into? So, shoot. My stomach is kind of turning. Just
It's
thinking
hard to
about
think. It's low key like hard to think about. It's like anxiety inducing. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Like everything else, it's one step at a time. I'm like trying to figure
one
out
step at a
for myself.
freaking time. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, let's just have a date on the calendar. Let's figure everything else out
yeah.
one moment in time.
What are you singing? I'm like, I've not identified it yet.
I'm singing everything. That was a little bit one moment in time, little Whitney, honey. No.
Oh,
Um,
ooh, I'm embarrassed that I don't know.
well, I made it all alto. That's why you're like, what is that? I'm like, one moment in time.
Yes, get it. That listen, there's no need for you to be up in the rafters. It's okay.
Wanu, I love you.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining
I
me.
love
You're
you.
the bomb.com.
You're fierce. Listen, also shout out to you for doing this. This is really awesome. I'm like, when I saw that you were doing this, I was like, this is fierce, 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 fierce. I also am like, I need to connect you with my sister because she, it, like, literally had this whole campaign like this past summer about how so we had a conversation about how like the pretty much the inequities of like Black actors having to deal with like hair and makeup just like not being up to par, and them having to do jobs that they really shouldn't be doing, that like
Yep.
other people are supposed to be paid for, and like why
Yes.
aren't IATSE people trained
Yes.
in all types of hair, and it just like one type. And so she kind of like put up this campaign to like get the unions talking to each other, and how like how you can bring people who are versed in this, and like kind of train them to be in the entertainment world of the business, and like get entertainment people who are already in this world and just train them properly on like different
Yeah.
texture of hairs. And
Yeah.
I don't know, she went on this whole thing. I definitely want to connect you two together, and it like prompted her to like she was like, I want to make a change. So she's like, I'm gonna be an AA delegate and like
Nice.
run for delegacy. And like she ran and she won a seat, and now she's like, I'm ready to do action. And I'm like, it's like y'all, people like you guys that I'm like, yes, I wish I had the chutzpah to like get up and like do this. Sometimes like it's doing big stuff and like new stuff can be scary, but I really
Right.
friend, and I admire you guys. I admire you both for like stepping up and doing the work, and I'm always here to support.
Thank you, girl. You're the bomb. I love you so much. Don't actually hang up, but I'll
Oh,
see you
wait.
later, girl.